Welcome back! Another League Cup and another, I guess you can tell by the thumbnail and title, another top 8. Gardevoir is putting in the work. Again, I was considering playing Dragapult for this cup, but then they announced shortly before the actual tournament, they said, oh, by the way, there's a big cash prize pool. And I thought, okay, well, if there's money on the line, I'm not going to first time a Dragapult. Let me go with what I know. And so I went with Gardevoir. Pretty much the same list as usual. Secret Box 4 Iono, 3 Arven, all that good nonsense. The only difference compared to last week was I no longer included Manaphy because nobody's really playing Regidrago anymore. And so instead I included a Mawile, the tempting trap Mawile, where for a single energy, the defending Pokemon cannot retreat. Mainly because, again, this can help you stall out a bit and, buy a few more turns. I'll admit, like, these 3 tech cards here, so the Mawile, the Budew, and the Radiant Greninja, these are the 3 that I'm, like, iffy on and that I might change for the next cup next weekend. But for now, let's go over the current cup. 5 rounds of Swiss, and then, of course, top 8. Round 1 of Swiss, I get paired up against a Miraidon player, and admittedly, a relatively new-ish Miraidon player. He said himself, this is the first time he was trying out the Miraidon deck. And so I thought, okay, Miraidon is still a very scary deck. But I thought, okay, I'm prepared. I know how to do it. This is the same deck, or same type of deck that I went up against at the last League Cup. Mawile to try and, do anything to stall out to get a Gardevoir in. Once I get Gardevoir into play, then we're golden. However, as is always the case, boy oh boy, prize cards, they suck, huh? So I was able to get it going. I was actually so scared the entire time of Iron Hands, because I think whenever you play against Miraidon, that's always a concern, right? Just the Iron Hands the entire time. He never actually charged up an Iron Hands once. He never on-pressed me once, or used MP very much. However, at some point in game 1, I was down to 3 prize cards left, and he was down to 2 or whatever. I was doing pretty good, If you can get the Gardevoir online, it can do some pretty good damage. I had a Munkidori, so I'm able to take knockouts on, say, the Raichu, the Miraidons, the Iron Hands if I have a double Munkidori and whatnot. Here's the issue though. I was so focused on those threats, like I mentioned, Miraidon, Raichu, and Iron Hands. I forgot to think about the Raikou. Raikou, if you do have a full bench of 5, which as Gardevoir you typically do because you want, all your Kirlias, all your Greninjas, and then if he has Area 0 and goes full bench with 8, he can do 280 damage with his Lightning Rondo. So even if you attach 3 Psychic Embrace and then you use Munkidori, you have to double Munkidori it. You cannot have 30 damage on the Gardevoir. And I think I misplayed because I did exactly that. At some point, I completely forgot that Raikou was a thing. So I attached 3, and then I Munkidori 30'd off, and then I used Miracle Force. I had a Darkness Energy in hand that I could have attached to the Gardevoir to only have to Psychic Embrace 2, then it takes 40 damage, and then it only has 10 damage left on it after you Munkidori. I don't know why I didn't do that. I completely forgot that Raikou was a thing. I think he also didn't have Area 0 in play at the time, so I didn't think of that as a possibility. And then this is where everything started to go wrong. So he of course gets a knockout on Gardevoir. I have 3 prize cards left. He has a benched Pikachu that has 190 damage on it because earlier on I attacked it but I didn't KO it. I was leaving it there so that I could Munkidori it later on, and I did have a Munkidori. Here's the issue though. I don't know why I decided to do this earlier on, but I had refined away a Super Rod. I used Secret Box to throw it away. Both my Gardevoirs were now in the discard pile. I have a Kirlia and I've used up 1 Night Stretcher already. My last Night Stretcher was in the prize cards. So I said I'll move 20 damage off of something else that just happened to have damage, like a Kirlia, knock out the Pikachu, and if the 2 cards I drew, if one of them was that Night Stretcher, I would have had game because I can just bring up the Gardevoir again, attach a bunch of energy to a Screamtail, I draw, and they were both, it doesn't matter what they were not Stretcher. And then I said it's game over because I can't get a Gardevoir back, and the last Night Stretcher was in the prizes. So, that's a comedy of mistakes. 1, throwing away Super Rod, which I feel like throwing away the Super Rod wasn't that much of a mistake because I think at the time it was the correct play. But definitely not attaching a Darkness Energy to the Gardevoir, because again, it only needs 2 Psychic and 1 Colorless, so I don't need to attach all 3. But that was game 1. Also, this is very important. He plays an Electric Generator in game 2, and he says, Electric Generator, look at the top 7 cards of the deck. It took me a second to realize, and I said, wait, 7? 7 sounds like wild, And so I said, wait, hang on a second. Oh, you look at the top 5 cards, and we're like, oh, my bad, or whatever. This was the first generator of game 2. But then I realized, in game 1, he must have been using it, again, I'm not calling him out for cheating or, this was the first time he was playing the deck. I think it was just an honest mistake. Part of me did wonder, would I have won if he had, didn't hit all those generators in game 1, if he only looked at the top 5 cards of the deck. But I was like, okay, no, it's fine. I didn't really want to bring it up because, again, round 1, nothing's on the line just yet. He was a relatively fresh-ish player, especially to Miraidon. I was like, it's fine, we'll just play it out, whatever, as long as you go for 5 now. Anyway, again, I was doing pretty well this game. He never, got an Iron Hands. I had Gardevoir and stuff like that. But again, Raikou, I failed to think about it. I had game ready because I had like a Munkidori, I had a Kirlia, I had 2 Kirlias. My board was like this. I had 4 prize cards left. And I was about to take out something with Gardevoir, you know, Munkidori and then knockout. And then I was, in my head, I'm like, if he puts something out like a Iron Hands with Bravery Charm, I might not get the KO. However, I do have a Munkidori in hand and also a Screamtail to snipe down his Squawkabilly. So you know what? I'm gonna bench these 2 down just in case, so I'm ready for next turn. And then what happened? The exact same thing. He places down Raikou, goes full board, and then because I placed down 2 extra Screamtail and a Munkidori, he KOs the Gardevoir. I could have just held these 2 in my hand for the next turn. Yeah, that is 100% on me. That is not a cheating thing. That's 100% on me. But I was like, it's fine. First round jitters, you know, it's the first round of the day. I can make it back. And I did. Round 2, a Gardevoir. Okay, also round 2, I played against a Gardy. There were so many people playing Gardevoir today. They were like, out of the 38 people, there were like 6 people playing Gardevoir. I was one of them, of course. One other person was somebody that has been playing Gardevoir non-stop. And then the other 4 people, all 4 of them, as far as I know, were first timing the deck, which is pretty ballsy, I want to say. Some of them were, you know, testing out because they want to go to EUIC. So they're like, maybe it's going to be a good deck. Let me try it out. And then like afterwards, like myself and the other, like, I don't want to toot my own horn, but the other veteran Gardy player were like, yeah, no, you're like, Gardy is good, Gardy is great, it's very versatile, it has winning lines for everything, but you have to know those, right? Each and every matchup is different and you have to know the line for each and every matchup. It's not like Raging Bolt where you just say, oh, charge up the energy and just swing, right? But anyway, the Gardevoir I was playing against was playing a weird list where he had one, he was still including Pheasantipity. The moment he played Pheasantipity, I knew, I mean, that's a 2 prize target for me. And also, he played Gardevoir with a Hero's Cape, which he attached the Hero's Cape to the Gardevoir, which, I mean, I was perfectly fine with. I was like, okay, you should know that Gardevoir is very capable of sniping the bench. You know, I had Screamtail. And then another great big help once again was, of course, the Flutter Mane. Because again, you can ping for 90, you can easily KO, say, a Kirlia, and then you can also put 2 damage counters on another Kirlia and double Munkidori to put another 60 and get, you know, double KOs, which I did do. I think his plan was also to try and get down 2 Munkidoris and try to, you know, energize him to push back any damage. At some point, he also tried to Mawile trap me. Like, he played down finally I get to use a card to, like, show the opposing position. He played down a Mawile to trap up, like my Munkidori, but in my head, I'm like, you realize all of my Pokemon can attack, right? Not only that, but I play Turo scenario. I'm more than capable of getting out of this. So I think he hardly ever tried to actually snipe the bench. He tried to use Gardevoir to attack a lot, which, I mean, makes sense. You know, Gardevoir can be tanky and take out some big hits. But again, it doesn't really matter for me because, you know, there's so much bench sniping capabilities with Gardevoir. Or just, you know, counter catcher and bosses and stuff like that. So that was I don't want to say an easy dub, but I think I wasn't too concerned about it, you know. I was just concerned about time because we essentially played 1 game and then the second game went to time, but like he had no way of winning and I was ahead anyway. Round 3, I went up against a girl playing, what is it called? The Blood Moon Ursaluna and then the regular Ursaluna, where you play it down and it attaches 2 fighting energy, as well as Duskulls and Dusk Noirs. I feel bad because I kind of swept the floor with her. She hardly ever had a chance to play anything because apparently it was just a deck that she was handed by somebody else and told, hey, why don't you join in and participate and stuff like that. But yeah, like Flutter Mane put in the work there, being able to take out a Duskull and put 2 on the bench Duskulls and then Munkidori and stuff like that. Yeah, round 3, pretty easy 2-0. Round 4, we go up against a Raging Bolt player. Again, this is a pretty favorable matchup for Gardevoir because again, you have these 1 prizes and stuff like that. And then the opponent has to waste energy just to KO a random Drifloon and whatnot. But this game is where Mawile and Budew actually came in clutch. At one point, I was able to counter catch her in a Radiant Greninja, Tempting Trap, and then he could not find his switch card. Like, that was perfectly fine. And then also, this bought me enough time to set my, what is it called? My Kirlias and Raltses up. And then honestly, once you get something like this, 2 Kirlias and a Gardevoir, you're pretty much set, right? If they somehow get the Gardevoir in, they might be able to KO it. Even if they don't, if they put a lot of damage on it, you can always Turo scenario, pick it back up. You can evolve another Kirlia, and you still have 1 ready for refinement and stuff like that. If they do KO it, you can always Night Stretcher it back and put it back down. So, I mean, honestly, I've gone up against so many Raging Bolts, so this was a very comfortable matchup for me. However, then we get to Top Cut. Top Cut was 2 Archaludons, 2 Gardevoirs, 1 Miraidon, 1 Gouging Fire, and 2 other decks that I cannot think of right now because I didn't play up against them. But I was matched up against not only an Archaludon player, but also the same Archaludon player from the last cup that I talked about, where I lost against them round 1 because I made incredibly bad misplays. You know, like I tried to Budew, forgetting that, you know, they can just hammer arm for a single attachment and KO, which is like I said, now I knew the matchup a bit more, I was a bit more experienced. And this time around, game 1, pretty damn good. Archaludon, of course, chooses to go first because 1, they get to evolve sooner, and 2, they get to play Jamming Tower turn 1 to prevent me from trying to TM Evo, which he did end up doing. He did play down Jamming Tower turn 1. Thankfully, however, I had Arven in hand, and I could go Arven for Secret Box, and then I got a great start. You know, I can't remember what exactly in the active, like maybe a Flutter Mane or whatever. I was able to get down Buddy-Buddy Poffin with double Ralts. I was able to grab a Moonlit Hill, not an Artisan because I don't want to give him Artisan. I was able to get down double Ralts, get Team Evo everything, and then, you know, get my 2 Kirlias. And I was able to get my Gardevoir set up. And at some point I was, you know, he did bump, of course, Moonlit Hill. I bumped again with Artisan. I was able to get down Drifloon with the Bravery Charm and a bunch of energy, and then get a KO on one of his Archaludons, which was like, okay, cool. That's great now. Well, actually, so no, I didn't get a KO on Archaludon. I had a Scream Tail, and I was just sniping the Duraludons and the Greninjas and stuff like that. I do remember though, I found out the hard way, he plays 3 Jamming Towers. At some point, I had a Bravery Charm on Drifloon, but thankfully, I only had attached, what is it called? 3 energy. So it takes 60 damage, and I just did this just to KO like a Duraludon in the active. But then he did the thing that every Gardy player hates. He firstly bumped my Artisan, and then he used Boss's Order to bring up my Gardevoir, and I now had no more energy in the discard pile at this point in time. But this was trouble though, because I also had some energy on the Scream Tail as well, I think, because like I said, I was sniping his bench. So I had like 2 energy on the Scream Tail, 3 energy on the Drifloon. My Gardevoir was stuck in the active. I had the other 2 energy was somewhere in the deck, which is why once again I play 2 Turo scenarios so that I could pick it up, free up all that energy, and then I think I was able to what is it called? I was able to go for game because I had 2 Munkidoris on the field as well, and I had originally placed 20 damage on a Dialga V-Star, which has 280 HP. Oh, sorry, so it had 30 damage on it already. I was able to, 1, free up the bench space because I Turoed the Drifloon out, put down a second Munkidori, attach an energy for turn, then charge up the Gardevoir, move another 60 onto the Dialga V-Star, boss it up, and then KO. That was great. That was really, really cool. I was really happy about that. I actually took a game off of this guy playing Archaludon, a matchup that I was not too familiar with, but admittedly speaking, he did brick a lot. Like turn 1, he bricked a lot. And I got lucky, you know, having that Secret Box turn 1 to evolve and whatnot. Game 2 comes around. He has a much better start this time. Once again, he does have Jamming Tower. Once again, I do have Secret Box. However, when I check prizes, what I do is I you know, funnel all the Pokemon to the front, and then I move all the energy to the back, right? And then I just mainly check what are the important cards. Do I have Gardevoir in the deck? I have Gardevoir. Okay, cool. And then I check how much energy do I have. I'm like, okay, I've got 3 Darkness energy. That's fine. I've got 6 Psychic energy. All right. What about supporters? Do I have, how many Turos do I have? 2 Turos. Do I have Boss? All right, cool. Is Secret Box there? Cool. And then I also check Super Rod and Night Stretcher because it lets me know what I can discard, especially after, like I said, that Miraidon match. I didn't beforehand. Now you might see here, I have 2 Ultra Balls. These 2 Ultra Balls were in the prize cards, and I didn't really pay attention to it, right? He gets a pretty good start off. I think he does end up going for Star Cronus, and he KOs like a Munkidori and like a Spiritomb, I think. I had everything ready. He did not have Jamming Tower in play. I had Drifloon, I had Bravery Charm, I had energy in the discard pile. All I needed was a Gardevoir to evolve and then promote Drifloon, attach 5 energy, and then KO his Archaludon, and then we go even on prize cards 4-4. Yes, there is the possibility that, you know, he could play another Jamming Tower and then gets a free KO, but at least, you know, it's not that bad. At least I can keep even in the prize race somewhat, you know, go down to an equal 4-4. And so in my hand, I had an Iono and I had Arven as well. I don't know why. I think I wasn't able to check the deck somehow. But in my head, I'm like, okay, I can Arven to get myself the Gardevoir. So I play Arven, I search through, and I realize, oh, Ultra Ball is prized. I cannot get Gardevoir. So from there, things got really, really dicey. I had to just, like, you know, offer up whatever was in the active. Like, offer up a Kirlia, let him KO that. So then I went down another prize, and then on the next turn, I played an Iono. I got the Gardevoir, but it was too little too late. Because even though I did end up getting, you know, the Drifloon to get the return KO. At the time, I had taken 2 prize cards. He had already taken 3. And also now, I did not have a Kirlia for refinement. I did have a Greninja, but I mean, that's, you know, a bit dicey. Like, this board state is not great, right? Like, you have not a lot of draw power. Even if you have Gardevoir in the active, even with the Munkidori, which has a Darkness Energy, you're not getting any big KOs. You're reliant on having, like, some big boss's orders or something like that. And so he ended up winning once he, you know, had another Jamming Tower, takes another prize card, and then, you know, just slowly but surely bosses up smaller things and takes them out, right? So that was now 1-1. And again, I feel a bit better about the match. Now that I know he plays 3 Jamming Towers, I felt better because I know I can maybe get away with 1 Drifloon KO on the Archaludon, but I should expect that to be knocked out by simply playing down a Jamming Tower. The main, like I said, the main goal is having Gardevoir. Gardevoir can tank out the hits, but I think I was also very scared about the Relicanth, even though, theoretically speaking, if you do charge up Gardevoir with 3 energy, as long as you Munkidori 30 off onto something other than the active Archaludon, and then you hit it for 190, you will survive. But I never had that option, I suppose. I think also I was very scared that even if I did do that, what do I do on the next turn, right? Do I need to punch with the Gardevoir again? I did try a couple of times attacking with the Munkidori, using Mind Bend to put some chip damage onto the Archaludon to set it up for a clean KO with Gardevoir where it doesn't get a chance to hit back. But every time I did try and Mind Bend, you know, it's Archaludon, Turo scenario, scoop up Cyclone, something to retreat it out. I think that's actually how I ended up losing at the end of game 2. I tried to stall out with a Munkidori Mind Bend, and then he just had, like, you know, I can just retreat, I have another Archaludon in hand, I can charge up another one, I can just swing for KOs. Game 3, however, was absolutely tragic. Game 3, I did not see a single... I chose to go first again. Choosing to go first is a bit better because even if they do get down Jamming Tower, 1, Archaludon can no longer evolve sooner. And more importantly, if they do somehow get Jamming Tower down on their first turn, you can still evolve manually into Kirlia at least on your second turn. I went to go first, and my hand was absolutely shocking. I had no Raltses. I had like a Spiritomb. What? No, I know exactly what I had. I had Mawile, which doesn't do much in this matchup. I had a Spiritomb and I had a Nest Ball. And I panicked because I played Nest Ball and I thought I could get a Radiant Greninja. I do have an energy in the hand. If I Nest Ball and I bench down Greninja, I can maybe conceal cards and maybe get like a Buddy-Buddy Poffin. But I wasn't too sure about that. I didn't want to take that gamble because what happens if I don't get Buddy-Buddy Poffin? I'm an extra turn behind getting a Gardevoir. The aim of the game is get Gardevoir ASAP, or at least Kirlia's as well, ASAP. So from the Nest Ball, I bench down a Ralts. But not just any Ralts. I make the mistake of benching down my 60 HP Ralts. The 60 HP Ralts that is weak to metal. And immediately I'm like, oh, wait a second. If you go and you boss in my Ralts, attach a single energy for turn, and then you just smack it, that's game over for me. So, what I did was I had Spiritomb in hand. I was like, I have to bench down Spiritomb. I know he plays Lumineon, so Lumineon boss is absolutely an insta-loss for me. So I played down Lumineon, and then he actually says, you know, he almost, like, benched down his Lumineon. He caught himself. But, you know, he didn't do that, so he just punched the active again. He did punch it, but Mawile is also weak to steel, so it takes 60 damage, which was very annoying. So on my next turn, I can't remember what exactly I did, but I did use that 1 energy I had to, well, first I tried to see what I had. I drew nothing. I had no supporter to play on my second turn. So all I could really do was attach an energy to Mawile, retreat it into Spiritomb, and then just wait and pray. But yeah, essentially in game 3, it took a while, but eventually I did happen to get a, you know, a Kirlia down, a Munkidori. I also had Radiant Greninja. Spiritomb was knocked out, and I did manage to get a Gardevoir eventually. But here's the issue. The keyword is eventually. In game 3, I think I saw I had an Iono. That was the only supporter I played. I did not see a single Arven, so I couldn't grab Buddy-Buddy Poffin, I couldn't grab TM Evo, I couldn't grab Earthen Vessel. So even when I did get Gardevoir evolved, I didn't even have the energy to attack. So the best thing I could do is put Gardevoir in the active to at least tank out a hit, and then just pass. I did not have, like, I had 2 psychic energy in the discard pile. That was it. I was living and dying, mostly dying, off of my top deck each turn. And the top deck of each turn was absolute garbage. And so at some point he then had, you know, powered up his Dialga, went Star Chronos and, you know, knocked or attacked Gardevoir for 220, got another turn, and then finished it off. And at that point, I was like, yeah, no. One, Gardevoir is now in the discard pile. I just threw something else into the active, like, whatever, a Munkidori. I played Hisuian Heavy Ball, and I saw that my other Gardevoir was in the prizes. And I had no way of, like, getting this Gardevoir, and I had no Night Stretcher, I had no Super Rod, I had no Ultra Ball. I had no way of getting the other Gardevoir. So I was like, okay, well, that's just going to be a scoop from me, because this next turn is going to be another pass, essentially. And so that was rather unfortunate. But again, I did then speak to the other Gardy player, who ended up coming in like 3rd, 4th roundabout. And I asked him, you know, like, especially because he was friends with the guys that play Archaludon, and I asked him, how is the Gardevoir matchup? And he said it's fine, you know. You just got to get your Gardy set up and then attack with Gardy, Munkidori any damage across, and then you're fine. And I was like, yep. You see, I understand the plan. I failed at step 1, which is get Gardy set up. And I feel bad because as well, I was watching his semi-final game then. He was playing against Gouging Fire. And I saw he had the same exact, like, couple of turns, or like game 2 and game 3, where he won game 1, but game 2 and game 3, he just could not draw anything. He could not get his TM Evos, he could not get his... Or if he did get a TM Evo, he didn't have the Buddy-Buddy Poffin or the energy and stuff like that. And so we were saying, you know, Gardevoir is a great deck. Gardevoir is an amazing deck once you set up. But the difficult part is getting that set up, you know? Which is why, like we said, Budew and Mawile are kind of nice because it buys you those extra turns to try and set up. But I asked him, I saw he did not play Mawile, and he also didn't play Radiant Greninja. He did play 3 Munkidoris though. Mawile, he said, because everybody plays switch cards, which is true. I only got lucky in that Raging Bolt matchup because he didn't, you know, get a switch card off of Pokestop or anything like that. And the reasoning for Radiant Greninja, I do understand, right? Because Radiant Greninja is really nice early on because it doesn't require an extra turn to set up like Kirlia, where you have to wait for a turn to evolve. And also, it just gives you one extra way to discard energy, right? But what happens late game where you have all of your energy in the discard pile, right? Everything's gone. You're set up now. You have done your setup. You don't really have much energy to refine away. It's all, you know, it's all there, or it's the darkness energy on the Munkidori. This now becomes a liability. What is it doing for you? It is just hogging up a space that if you had an extra Munkidori down, you would have had, you could now throw around an extra 30 damage, which is very nice. Being able to throw 90 damage across instead of 60 is very convenient. It takes out a lot of the basics if they have, like for example, even Mawile here is 90, Flutter Mane is 90. Combine it with the Flutter Mane attack, you can hit for 110 essentially on the bench. But that's all thoughts for next time, I suppose. I probably will be playing Gardevoir at the next cup this coming weekend on the 23rd? Oh no, 24th? Next Saturday, whatever that is. But anyway, at the end of the day, out of the 38 odd people, I came 6th. So, I got myself 3 Surging Sparks packs, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 prize packs 5. So, let's go ahead and open these. I will say, now that this is the second week in a row, or second cup in a row, where I've had a taste of Top Cut. Beforehand, I would just say, oh, I'm just going to have fun, just going to play games, get games in, you know, just enjoy Pokemon. But now that I've had a taste, I'm like, okay, now next League Cup, I need to get Top Cut. Next League Cup after that, I need to get Top Cut. If I don't get Top Cut, I'm annoyed. This has now been a taste that has been unlocked now. But alright, if you are going to EUIC, good luck there. If you are going to play at your locals anytime soon, good luck there as well. Until next time, bye-bye.